What is up, Pop Culture Universe? We are back with another episode review of What If. This is episode 6. This one is called Killmonger Rescued. What if Killmonger Rescues Tony Stark? I'll be one of the reviewers today. My name is Bogz. With my girl Sol today. How are you today, Sol?
I'm doing good. Really enjoyed this episode. I think it's my second favorite of all the What If episodes right now. So I can't wait to talk about it.
Interesting, yeah. So let's get some more on a general summary. I felt it was good basically. So lots of deaths with Tony Stark and Rhodey and Claude as well. So I did like the remix of like the first Iron Man and Black Panther, like mixing that story together. That was cool. I think that's the first time we've seen like two stories or two character journeys like infused in this what if thing. So yeah, that was cool. I thought Killmonger. I thought Tony would still kind of turn into Iron Man after Killmonger saved him in Afghanistan as well, but that kind of didn't happen. So that was kind of interesting. And then I did like how Killmonger still like is still a villain no matter what. Like he's still the mastermind, or he's still like he's still evil. He's still got bad intentions, regardless of the situation. Like when he could be a hero, he still chooses the villainous route because of his father and stuff. So that was cool. And however, as a criticism, I will say some characters were not smart in this episode, and it did bug me a little. Like during Killmonger's kind of coup or his scheming and his masterminding, they're just people that just went along with it sometimes. Like, I'll say, like, for example, Tony, when he found out what Killmonger's plan was and he had the kind of that before he got killed, basically, and he had that big joy, just the way he was acting, like he was like drinking and like teasing him and stuff. I was like, Tony wouldn't, like, really, Tony? And also T'Chaka, and like how he was just going along with everything was what he's saying. And yeah, and even like Shuri was trying to say something and he was just too like welcoming of him, and he's like, surely, like, why would you, like, it's some random guy. Obviously he establishes that it's his nephew, but still, like, he was just too trusting, and it was like he just it did annoy me a little bit. Also, I didn't actually like Pepper's voice, or Shuri's voice as well. Like there were two, they took me out a little bit. But yeah, they were kind of my main overall things of the my main issues or positives with the story. But how about you? Overall summary of the story and maybe reaction to anything I've just said.
Like I said, I really liked this episode. This was more of a Killmonger episode than a Tony Stark episode for me, even though if you look at their characters, Killmonger is the same Killmonger that he was in Black Panther. Yeah. I think he would put the Killmonger from Black Panther put him in this situation, and he would be doing the exact same thing. But I think this is a different Tony Stark because he was not in that cave, because he did not have the shrapnel. He learned different lessons. He still learned lessons, but it was different. And so that's, whereas in Iron Man, you see him come back and be like, I'm not going to do missiles or any defense for the U.S. Army anymore, because that's going to lead, I saw people die. I saw my tech being used by the enemies, whereas this time he's going, no, I need bigger tech to fight these people. So it's completely different Tony Stark. You also see him drinking a lot of alcohol, which you can, if you reference in the comics, he was an alcoholic and had to deal with that and get over his alcoholism. So I saw that. And then to reference the criticism with T'Chaka, I think with me, he was so trusting of his nephew is because he just lost his son. And he technically does have an heir with Shuri, but I don't know with Wakandans how it is with a male or a female heir or kings and queens of that nature. We haven't really gone that much into it. So maybe it could be one of those things of like wanting a male heir and kind of wanting a replacement for his son. So that's the way I viewed it.
Yeah. But it was like, turn your defenses down and let these
Right.
vibranium droids in. I was like, what? Are you just gonna let him? Yeah, that was just
Yeah.
it was kind of funny to see. But stuff that I really liked, I like the kind of Rhodey death um, and Tony Stark's death. But almost my favorite character in it was probably Claude, and that the voice acting from Andy Serkis, like that is how you do it. Like any
Well,
what
he's
if
the
actor, or
best.
like I was smiling at every line that he was giving. Like he was so good. Like I wanted more. I said it after watching Black Panther and the other movies that he's in as well. But like he's a joy. Like when he's talking about the Wakandans and the all the kind of just general dealings that he has and stuff. He was great. He was the best part of the thing for me. I was dying to see more of him. So, but he still gets killed off as he does. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, but yeah, superb voice acting from him, as opposed to some of the, like I said, like Pepper or Shuri. And like I said, it does take me out of it. And like they're trying to tell a big, what if mystical potential story, and I think that's holding the show back a little bit. It's like some of the voice acting is very distracting, and that's like I said that my biggest thing was Claude. But I know you mentioned you had some particularly some of Killmonger's lines that you liked in this.
Yeah, I really liked the philosophy of this episode. It was going like, how do you change the system? And you had two different philosophies going on it being represented. You have Rhodey representing as the way to change the system is to change it from the inside. So he's a soldier. He works for the government. That's how he is planning to change the system. Whereas Killmonger is that change it from the outside. I kind of see it like too, like in a peaceful and in a violent way. I see it kind of like a Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, like the duality between that. So that was what I was thinking about while watching this episode. I really want to rewatch it again and see if there's even more subtleties that I missed. And then I really like the part Tony Stark's death as well, when they're both geniuses who are living in the image of their father. And so to Tony Stark, he sees Killmonger as probably a younger him. But when Killmonger said, the difference between you and I is that you can't see the difference between you and I. And that was one of the best lines of this episode for me. So I really enjoyed the little like philosophies that were being shown in this episode, the little subtleties.
Yeah, and also Killmonger wanted to kind of open up Wakanda at the end
Mm-hmm.
to the rest of the world and stuff. So yeah, I did like all that stuff. I kind of wanted him to go more into that kind of
Right.
stuff. Like they do in Black Panther. They do go more into that. The cultural aspects of you know um, you could use it in many different kind of things, but in particular, being African or African Americans in this kind of timeline or world or whatever, or in Wakanda or in Africa. But yeah, I did love that. Like I said, I wanted to go more into it. But just going towards the end, I mean, I'd say the Pepper and Shuri kind of teaming up at the end. She kind
It
of
was a little
obviously
weird.
established, yeah, exactly. Teaming up at the end to say, oh, kind of he's they kind of spotted his that he's suspicious character, let's say, and I think Pepper did spot it earlier as well, but it obviously left on a kind of unfinished story arc a little bit, where we're going to see the part 2 of this in season 2, or maybe later on this series. I don't know if they do at all. But my general point about this is that I don't really want to see them two take on Killmonger. Like I don't really care. Shuri and Pepper against Killmonger is like who, like there's so many bigger, better stories to tell
I'm sure they'd
in
have
this.
backup.
Yeah, well, but it was like it was the least interesting cliffhanger of What If for me. I
I
was
would
like,
agree
oh,
with that.
like these guys, like yeah, and just the whole thing is like she was just there and she was like a bit playful, and I didn't really get the ending there. And but overall, yeah, like I said, I did like a lot of the things here in this episode, but there's some things that bothered me. Um, but this just kind of, when I was watching, I was kind of rethinking about the zombie episode, and that was just so much fun. And how that ended with Zombie Thanos with the Infinity Stones,
Yeah.
him kind of turning turning them on kind of thing, and the whole noise that comes with it. I thought it was great. So I like that way more than this one. I'd probably give this. I give it a 7. That's me being a bit generous, I'd say. But overall, it was fun. I think you liked it more than me. But yeah, I guess I would kind of be okay with a part 2 on this one. But I'm definitely not particularly interested in Pepper and Shuri taking on Killmonger. That was no. But some of the things earlier that you mentioned, yeah, some of the dialogue was good, and Claude E stole the episode for me. It was great.
Definitely.
But what about you? Overall thoughts on the episode?
I think, my biggest criticism is probably that cliffhanger between Shuri and Pepper. That was a little weird, and kind of thinking where I do want to see a part 2 with this, just because I'm always down to see more Killmonger. But that was a little weird cliffhanger. Funny enough, when you were like, I'll give it a 7, you liked it more than me, where I was thinking I'm giving it a 7 as well.
I was being generous, yeah. So.
But I really enjoyed this episode. I think it's take away that cliffhanger, and this was a great episode for me.
Yep, fair. Can't wait for next week. Put your comments in, whoever's watching. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Put your comments in on your overall thoughts on this episode. Any predictions moving forward. A few more episodes left. Are we going to get any part 2s? If so, what part 2s you want to see? What other team ups are you expecting or you'd like to see? But that's been this episode review of What If. See you all next week on the next episode.